If you are new to Linux like me, this video is for you. Welcome to the channel. For reasons that are mostly Windows bugs, I've been using the Ubuntu distribution for about 2 years now. Since I use both Ubuntu and Windows at the same time on one laptop, I divided this video into 8 sections, and in each section I compare one feature based on my own experience with these two operating systems, so you can easily choose between them or maybe even use both. So let's get started. If you have a weak system, Linux is probably the better option for you. When the system starts up, it uses less RAM compared to Windows. Also, when the system is idle, the CPU usage is usually lower, even when an app is open or process is running. Most Linux distributions take up less disk space after installation compared to Windows. All of this is because Linux is not filled with extra and useless apps and services like Windows. In Ubuntu, just like in Windows, there is an app store for downloading software called the App Center. You can simply search for the app you want, download it, and install it. But if the app you want is not in the App Center, you need to search for it online. At this point, you may find installer files in several different formats. The first format is Debian packages with a .dev extension. These are the simplest installer packages for Debian-based distributions and can be installed on your system using the dpkg command. The second format is app image packages. They run on all Linux distributions and are portable. You can place them in any drive or folder you want, make them executable with a simple command, and then run them. The third method is installing apps through the App Package Manager. apt is the main old and secure package manager in Ubuntu. It contains most apps, and using it is very simple and almost the same as a Snap Package Manager. All you need to do is visit the official website of the app or ask an AI to check whether the app exists in the app repository. I also recommend that if you are connected to the internet, install even Debian packages using apt instead of dpkg command. This way, apt will automatically download all required dependencies to ensure the application runs properly and without bugs. There are also many other formats that developers might use for their installer packages, such as .run, .sh, or even files without an extension. You can make all of them executable and run them, or simply right-click on them and choose Run. However, some apps do not exist on Linux and cannot run on it directly. With some tools and tricks, you can still bring many of them to Linux. We will talk about that later. Most people think Linux is just a black screen with some white text on it, but this is not true. Ubuntu, especially in its newest version, is very beautiful, but it doesn't end there. You can change the look of Ubuntu into almost anything you want. You can even make it look like Windows or Mac OS. All you need to do is go to YouTube and search for how to install themes on Ubuntu. From the thousands of videos available, choose one you like and customize your Ubuntu based on that guide. Since I use a laptop, battery usage of the operating system is very important to me. Earlier in the hardware usage section, I said that Linux generally uses fewer system resources, so this also affects battery life. When fewer services are running in the background and the CPU usage is lower, the battery usage in Linux becomes more efficient. But honestly, not so that we call Linux a miracle. Another issue that bothers me in Windows is its sleep mode. When I put Windows into sleep mode after a few hours, it is already turned on and is waiting on the lock screen for a password. Most of the time, it's also a bit warm and has consumed around 10 to 20% of the battery. I don't know if this is a Windows bug or a problem with my laptop, but the first option seems much more likely because this never happens on Linux. In Ubuntu, when I put my laptop into sleep mode, after several hours, almost no battery is used and the laptop doesn't get warm at all. If anyone knows what the issue is in Windows or has had a similar experience, please let me know in the comments. I would really appreciate it. In this part, Linux is definitely the winner. On Linux, only a limited number of services are allowed to run automatically in the background. Unlike Windows, almost no extra app or service can run without you starting it or giving permission. This is actually the main reason Linux is lighter and uses fewer system resources than Windows. Also, most computer viruses that spread through USB drives, hard drives, emails, links, and infected networks are made for Windows. They are not compatible with Linux and cannot run on it, but this does not mean Linux is 100% secure or that no malware exists. But compared to Windows, Linux is in a better position. Updates in Ubuntu are divided into two main parts: Snap updates and APT updates. Snap updates are for apps that are installed from the App Center. The App Center is basically the graphical interface for the Snap command. You can check the App Center to see available updates, but this is usually unnecessary because the Snap service automatically updates applications on its own. The rest of the updates in Ubuntu are handled through the APT Package Manager. This includes updates for apps installed with APT, Linux kernel updates, Ubuntu version updates, and updates of graphics card drivers. You can easily run the command sudo apt update first so Ubuntu can get the list of new updates from the APT repositories. Actually, this command checks what updates are available. Then with the next command, the system starts downloading and installing the new packages. But doing things in a graphical way is usually easier. In the Software Updater app, you can do all of these steps visually and even choose which updates you want to install. While Snap package updates are automatic, APT updates are completely manual, and you decide when they are downloaded and installed, just like Windows. Now we have reached the most important part of the video, which is gaming on Linux. Thanks to Wine, playing games on Linux has become possible for several years now. Wine is a tool that lets you run Windows games on Linux, but today almost nobody uses Wine directly for gaming because we now have Proton. Proton is a modified and optimized version of Wine, developed by Valve and designed specifically to run Windows games on Linux. All you need to do is install Steam on your Ubuntu system, then log into your account, and just like Windows, install and play any game you want. But if the Install Game button on Steam looks like this for you, watch this great video and fix the problem. Besides games, you can also run some apps that are not available on Linux. For apps, I recommend not using Proton because Proton is optimized only for games. For apps, you can use Wine or Play on Linux, which is basically a simpler graphical version of Wine, but I recommend visiting the official Wine website first, and the link is in the description. Search for the name of your app to check if it is compatible with Wine. There are also other tools like Bottles and Lutris, for to be honest, I have never used any of them, and I do not recommend using them either. Gaming and design are things Windows is excellent at. So, I will suggest a way for you to use both Windows and Linux side by side. Dual boot is the best way to use the special features of both Windows and Linux at the same time. I am not going to teach you how to dual boot in this video because there are already many great tutorials. Anyway, after you set up dual boot, every time you turn on your computer, you will see a screen called Grub. In this screen, you can easily choose between Windows and Ubuntu, and the selected operating system will load. You can also install different themes on the Grub menu to make it look more attractive. But before you installing a theme on your Grub menu, or even dual boot your system, I strongly recommend making a full backup of your data on Windows and Ubuntu so you'll never experience any stressful and painful data loss.